Last Sunday, I was relapsing on every bad habit you can imagine. I was doing everything wrong. Well, not everything, because I don't have that many bad habits, but you get my point. I was failing. I was not doing good. I was watching entertainment for like 5 hours. I'm not kidding. I wasted like half the day. Then I relapsed on NoFap, and that was about it. But these two wasted like a colossal 6 hours of my day, and I wasn't even present for the first half of the day when I was at work. Doing I was at work making stupid mistakes because I wasn't even there mentally. It was like throughout the day, I had not been following my philosophy. And normally this would really affect me and I wouldn't do any good habits after these failures. You know how people on YouTube, they'll say, "Oh, if you don't go on, when you fap or when you do this habit, people know, like they subconsciously know and they feel it and they know that you're a degenerate. But when you stop doing it, that's when, your aura is more, like your aura is there. People notice you more. People want to speak to you more. You look healthier." So I've always had that in mind with these relapses, and I've always thought, shit, now I'm gonna look insecure, I'm gonna look gross, I feel like a degenerate, and thus I wouldn't do any other good habits. I wouldn't even go outside. I would just stay in the house doing nothing, like basically fake productivity tasks to convince myself that I've come back from this failure. I'd make a grand plan so that I would never relapse again, so that I would never fail again. I'd say, okay, today's the last day forever. I'm gonna go a year straight without doing this habit. I'm gonna become my desired self in 1 year. The thing is that for one, that approach doesn't work, and I'll explain in a different video that I talk where I'm gonna talk about goals. But secondly, when I went to the gym and I did my workout and I did everything, it actually was not even that bad of a workout. It was kind of good. What I realized is that nobody cares. Half the time that you think people are looking at you, they don't even notice you're there, especially today because we have, digital technology, phones. People are almost never looking up. They're always looking at their devices, and sometimes they're not even listening to what's happening in the world, because they have their headphones and they're listening to music. And especially not in a gym where people are doing their own workouts, where people just like me are focusing on doing their sets, on finishing with their workout, on stretching, so that they can get the fuck out of there. Because nobody wants to just stay in there for 3 hours, minus, some power lifters who spend like basically, they bring their fucking duffel bag and they camp out at the squat rack. Most people in not only the gym, but in life are not trying to judge you. They're not trying to stare at you. They're not even thinking about you. Most people do not care how you act as long as you're not like on the floor having a seizure or like doing something completely out of the normal. You're projecting your own insecurity, your own fear of being seen, your own fear of being judged onto other people and saying, "Oh yeah, these guys are looking at me weird, man. These guys are judging me. Let me act even weirder by like fidgeting around my hands, adjusting my posture while looking around." I don't know if you know this, but when you actively adjust your posture, and you've probably felt this actually, when you adjust your posture and you like start trying to look normal, you look even weirder. Like that's when people start looking at you and they're like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" Because you're not acting naturally. They know that you're afraid. They can feel that you're afraid of something. So the point of this video is just quick and simple. I just want to get this message out there that people do not care. Most people do not care. And so what you have to do is stop worrying about the consequences, about the outcomes of something, and you just have to do. You just have to get used to action without reward, and without fear of punishment, because that's essentially what judgment is, right? It's punishment. And we want the reward of being praised, of being celebrated. We want the reward of being attracted, of attracting the opposite sex, attracting friends, right? We want people to like us. We want that reward. But when we go with that expectation, when we live our lives saying, okay, I don't want to be judged and I want to be praised, then you make it impossible to act authentically, because your mind is the reward system of your mind is dependent on external things outside your control. You cannot control whether people judge you or whether they praise you. And it does not matter whether or not they do either, because they're both vain. Or not vain, but I can't find the word for it, but these things are pointless, they're meaningless. These things, they're not purposeful. So by getting praise, you may affirm some belief you have in here, or by getting judged, you may develop a fear. But the mature person, the mature reaction to judgment or praise is simply acceptance and indifference. It's accepting that this is happening. It's knowing it for what it is, and then it's moving on. This is the way to live authentically. Living with concern for what people, like whether or not people are looking at you, you're setting yourself up to live an unsatisfying life. So how do we get over this fear? Well, the first step is simply to acknowledge that most people do not care. And it's to see for yourself that people, 99% of the time, are not looking at you. They're not judging you. They're not talking about you. They're not doing anything against you. Most times, even when they're looking directly at you, their minds are focused on something they saw on their phone, on what they have to do for tomorrow. They're looking for somebody else. Most times, people are not focusing on you. The second thing is to focus more on your actions and your behaviors and your thoughts, rather than not your thoughts. Do not focus so much on your thoughts. Focus more on the present moment, on your actions and your behaviors, rather than what other people think of those actions or behaviors. Because the only way you'll find fulfillment is by being aligned with your philosophy, and the only way you'll be confident and secure is by following your philosophy. It's by being true to yourself. So if you focus on what other people think, and I'm telling you because I know from experience, when you focus on satisfying other people's reactions and judgments, and when you focus on fitting in and it works, it's so unsatisfying, it's so unfulfilling, because you're around these people, you're making these people laugh who you don't even like, and then all the stuff that you were following, that you were super strict with, you start letting go of that. You start holding back less, and you actually become more fearful of confrontation when you start trying to fit in. When it works, when you do successfully fit in, you become less. So instead of thinking constantly about what other people think, stop thinking, because thinking is bad for you, and become focused on your actions and whether or not they are aligned with your philosophy. And it might take practice. It might take a few days to really understand that people don't care. But for now, just consciously repeat it to yourself. You can write it as an affirmation. You can journal about it. And like I said, you can go to the gym and you can see for yourself. You can go outside and see for yourself that 90% of the time, people do not care what you're doing. That's going to be all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, interact with the video so it gets pushed in the algorithm. I have a Medium page as well, which is linked in the description. It's the top link. I post articles every week, either a day before the video gets posted or a week early if I'm posting about a full guide. So you're basically getting content on YouTube a day or a week early, or you're getting entirely new content that doesn't get posted here, all for free. So if you'd like to check that out, please go ahead. And yeah, have a good day, guys.